Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gash, producers of the finest tomato paste in the Gambia. Jaja tomato paste, available in 5 kilos, 1 kilo and in sachets. For wholesale and retail, visit our factory at Banjulanding. We are also producers of Jaja mineral water, cool, clear and fresh. Gash, Gambia, Angola, China Holding, with headquarters at Fatu Golden Plaza, Mile 7, Bertel Harding Highway. Gash Group also provides the best security company, Gash Security, for your offices, warehouses, homes and personal property. Gash Group for all your construction projects, offering you quality water reticulation for your gardens, pump irrigation, tidal irrigation projects and all types of buildings. You can contact Gash on 396-7894, 700-8993, 373-0259. Visit us at Gash Global Group on Battle Harden Highway, Fatu Golden Plaza. Our website www.gashglobal.com. Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gash.
Sophie Milk ñu ngi fété juróom benn ati cafka bu dul dañ ñoo leen indil Jalika full cream milk powder neex saf sàpp te bari cafka pour di leen jërëjëfati si ni ngeen defee Sophie Milk seen favorite milk brand léegi mun ngeen a jëfandikoo empty Jalika milk sachets wala carton pour gagner ay xéewal yu riche. Pour gagner motorbike dajaleel fukk ak juróomi empty carton yi Jalika milk pour gagner yeneen xéewal yu mel ni PlayStation 4, TV, fridge freezer, gas cooker, bicycle wala mobile phone. dajaleel fukk ak juróomi empty Jalika milk sachets def leen si biir enveloppe binda si sa tur ak sa téléphone number. mun ngeen ko yóbbu si bépp Jalika milk agent bu leen gën a jege. pour xam bi si raful yi dem leen Jalika milk Facebook page. Jalika milk mooy meew bu ees bu leen so fi indil gën a neex saf sàpp te riche.
It's a warm welcome to our studio here in Serekunda. This is Star TV News with me, Mamadou Baila Barry. In the headlines tonight, Gambia signs cooperation agreement framework with Sierra Leone. BARROW lays foundation stone for SANKANDI-KARANTABA road. Koro Caesar's family says justice delayed is not justice denied. Red Cross raises 13 million for WINDSTORM victims. Draft national defense policy submitted to defense minister. FIFA referees training course underway. Fortune's FC greatest underdog story of all. On the international scene, Iran faces fifth COVID wave amid growing Delta variant threat. At least 33 killed as heavy rains batter Western Germany. Athlete Olympic workers test positive for COVID as opening nears. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. The Gambia and Sierra Leone have cemented their long, smooth relationship by signing a cooperation agreement framework in which the two countries will enjoy mutual benefits. President Adama Barrow received a delegation from Sierra Leone Wednesday afternoon at the State House in Banjul. More details by Dado Cham.
The Minister of Internal Affairs of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Honorable David Pandanua, told journalists after a closed-door meeting that the presidential signing could not have come at a better time as the two countries had a long and smooth bilateral relationship and it is high time to cooperate and gain a result from the relationship. He said the agreement came after a fruitful discussion between the presidents of the two countries.
And we are here because of a discussion between the two presidents, the president of the Gambia and the president of Sierra Leone, where they discussed our relationships. We have had a long-standing relationship with the Gambia since colonial times. We have had friendships, we've had business transactions between our two peoples, but we have never cemented it. We've never put it to precipitate something that should come out of it, make it stronger.
He added that the Joint Cooperation Commission will involve various things, including the sectors of economic, agriculture, security, trade, in which the ministries of the two countries will be able to sign MOUs.
For both people in the Gambia and Sierra Leone to do away with that. So we're looking at that. We haven't signed that. We're going to discuss it with our various leaders. And then also another one on trade, an MOU that was being signed in 2006 but never been implemented.
The minister expresses gratitude on how his delegation has been welcomed in the various ministries they visited. The Gambia's High Commissioner to Sierra Leone, Mr. Aliu K. Jammeh, also disclosed to journalists that the two countries are also in a discussion to ease the burden of residential permit in the two countries.
In the past, what used to happen is that Gambians in Sierra Leone pay a fee for being resident in Sierra Leone. Also the same with Sierra Leoneans who used to live here in the Gambia. Now, moving forward, we are saying the two ministries and their immigration departments are looking at the possibility. Very soon that will be signed. When it is signed, the two nationals of the respective countries will not pay residential permit.
The delegation from Sierra Leone included the ministers of Trade and Foreign Affairs.
The foundation stone for the construction of the 39-kilometer Sankandi-KARANTABA road was over the weekend laid by President Adama Barrow. The project is being single-handedly funded by the government of the Gambia at the tune of 3.4 million. Mariam Adem reports.
This is the first phase of the 87-kilometer road construction project covering the entire Kiang West. The Sankandi-KARANTABA road, once completed, will ease the movement of people in several Kiang West communities such as Kemutu, Manduar, Joli, Jali, Tankula, and Keneba. Lack of motorable roads in many communities in Kiang West pose numerous locomotion challenges to the locals, especially during the rainy season. The Gambian leader said the construction of the Sankandi-KARANTABA road is one of the projects so dear to the government. The government, he went on, is of the belief that no community should be left in the cold when it comes to development. President Barrow said his government is alive to the challenges faced by Gambians and that finding solutions to them is government's priority.
Realizing that good infrastructure improve living standards, we are proud to take bold initiatives to provide them for our people. To this end, the occasion marks another giant step towards expanding and improving the road infrastructure in all the regions of the country.
The president is confident that the project will eradicate or lessen transportation difficulties as well as propel the area's economic growth.
The new road will enhance economic activities and growth in agricultural production, animal husbandry, tourism, fisheries, marketing, thereby leading to prosperity in the Kiang districts. The overriding achievement will be poverty reduction in the area.
The Minister of Works and Infrastructure, Lamin Job, explained that the road will be constructed in 2 lanes and will be 7 meters wide, connecting Kiang West and South. Minister Job urged the contractor and consultant to work collaboratively in order to meet the timeline.
The road will be constructed in 2 lanes. That is a 2-lane carriageway of 7 meters wide with 1.5 meters shoulders on each side of the carriageway. It will have all-weather bituminous surface dressing and will be provided with all necessary culverts and drains, and the project, as was already mentioned, is 100% funded by the government of the Gambia.
The contract is being awarded to Guy Construction. The company's manager, Mustafa Guy, gave an assurance that the project will be completed in 12 months. He thanked the government for the confidence in awarding the contract.
The civil works contract duration for this project is 12 months. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, amongst the benefits of this road when completed are the shortening of travel time from Sankandi to Karantaba and surrounding villages, reducing vehicle operating costs as well as facilitation of trade in the surrounding villages, improving the movement of people, goods and services in the project influence zone, Alas, we thank the government of the Gambia, starting with President Barrow, for always supporting the indigenous consultants and contractors, in doing so, creating local employment opportunities for Gambians.
The Alcalo of Karantaba, Baluta Kambi, Governor of LRA, Rohijon Manjang, among other speakers, described the project as both historic and a dream come true for the people of Kiang West. They thanked the president and his government for transforming their nightmares to positives. Maria Madem, reporting for Star TV News.
After 26 long years of waiting, the family of the slain former Finance Minister Usman Koro Sise is satisfied that justice has finally been served. Here is Khadijatu Danso.
The High Court in Banjul on Wednesday sentenced Yankuba Toure to death through hanging.
Sentence. Having found the convict guilty of murder, the murder of Usman Koro Sise in cold blood, and having considered that this court does not have any discretion under Section 188 of the Criminal Code, the convict Yankuba Toure is hereby sentenced to death. And pursuant to Section 252 of the Criminal Procedure Code, the said sentence of death shall be by hanging.
This verdict followed more than 24 months of widely publicized trial of the former AFPRC junta member. The judgment was also delivered 26 years after the discovery of the charred body of Usman Koro Sise in his burnt car in the then desolate Jambur Road. But Koro Sise's family said justice delayed isn't justice denied in the late minister's case. The family issued a statement shortly after the pronouncement of the judgment, beginning with the Quranic verse, which goes like this: "And among those we created is a community which guides by truth and thereby establishes justice." The verdict was coincidentally delivered on the 90th birthday of Koro's father, and the family wished the late minister's parents, Mr. Seni Sise and Mrs. Fatmata Sise, were around to witness it. However, we hope they are looking down and grateful for this day. Although it has taken more than 2 decades, we know Allah's timing is perfect. Today, the court has shown us that no one is above the law. The family statement read, "The family said it sincerely thanked all Gambian people who stood with them from the outset, rallied, petitioned, prayed and supported it, and that the judgment was everyone's victory." The family added, "You lifted us, walked with us, and served as our voice. You never forget Koro. You kept his name and pictures in the media to ensure the world would not forget him. You remembered his love for the country, people, integrity, and patriotism. You stood alongside our family in demanding for justice from every corner of the globe. We extend our gratitude to the Gambia's justice system, the TRRC, everyone who was involved in Koro's case, the Gambia Bar Association, and the attorneys who wrote the amicus brief in support of the case. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts. God bless you." Meanwhile, the family founded Usman Koro Sise's Foundation in 2014 as a non-profit, non-political organization to support equitable access to quality education and healthcare for disadvantaged Gambian citizens. Reporting for Star TV News, I am Khadijatu Danso.
Barely a week after the calamitous windstorm, Red Cross raised 278,487 Swiss francs to scale up its response interventions. Jacqueline Colley reports.
This is equivalent to $13 million, from which 500 families will benefit, with the lion's share going to the hardest hit region. The fund is being raised to reinforce government's response capability. Alassane Senghor is the Secretary General of the Gambia Red Cross Society.
I'm glad today to announce that we have received this amount of money, which is over 200,000 Swiss francs. And of course, in reality, what goes out and would reach the community would be around $13 million that we will be using as cash transfer to 500 families, our 500 households. As I said earlier on, there are so far 1,847 households that have been assessed until now across the country. So we as Red Cross cannot do it all. We are complementing government's effort. So our choice and our capacity as of now is to deliver assistance to 500 of the most vulnerable households. And here we are going to be giving them cash, unconditional cash transfer to help them to repair their houses.
Mr. Senghor said their intervention would be need-based as priority will be given to those most in need, especially families headed by women. The funds, he went on, are meant for the rehabilitation of houses destroyed in the disaster, but that the monies would be disbursed through mobile money service to allow victims freedom of choice in spending.
So we'll do cash transfer to them through mobile money to ensure that they get the money. We using this medium is simply because as Red Cross, Red Crescent worldwide, we are moving away from getting people assisted in a more dignified way, because people have to have choices in terms of how they want to use the assistance that you provide them. Of course, we know they want to repair their houses, but we cannot just go and buy anything and give it to them.
The storm has affected 192 communities, 1,721 households, 27,434 people, and caused 11 deaths. So far, 552 families have completely lost their houses, 295 partially damaged, including schools and police stations. Mr. Senghor pointed out that getting people back to their houses is their main priority.
Look, I think our priority is basically to get people back to their houses, because the urgent thing is people, it's a rainy season and people sleeping outside is not the best thing. So that would be our priority. Secondly, in a village where you have the whole or 90 or even 100% destruction, like I said before, you have vulnerable among the vulnerable. You have the most vulnerable, and that's why I used the most vulnerable. And we have a yardstick here. We are talking about some of the vulnerable household, female-headed household. We know very well. If you have a woman with a family alone and kids, to build a house, that person is more vulnerable where you have a husband and a wife and kids. So that's the way we prioritize. Now, for institutions like schools, and I think I leave that for the government, because for us, our priority is getting people back into their houses.
Meanwhile, President Adama Barrow has given $40,000 to every family that lost loved ones and promised that his government will employ more efforts in helping other victims rebuild their houses completely or partially destroyed by the storm. Jacqueline Coley reporting for Star TV News.
The third copy of the draft National Defense Policy was on Tuesday submitted to the Minister of Defense at his office in Banjul. Mori Elbaji was there and he prepared this report, read in our studios by Jacqueline Collier.
The Gambia government is embarking upon an ambitious reform process of the country's security sector, and the drafting is seen in some quarters as another step closer. The Minister of Defense, Sheikh Omar Faye, was grateful to the drafting committee, and he thanked the members on behalf of the government for their tenacity and relentlessness in ensuring the birth of a median national defense policy. Minister Faye appealed to the media to actively engage in the process by educating the masses about the importance of a national defense policy.
2021, that we have come as a country to present the third draft of the Gambia National Defense Policy, which has the face of Gambia, is purely a Gambian document. The only person that we thank and said she initiated a lot of this work and has been guiding this work, Professor Anne Fitzgerald, or other than Professor Anne, everybody else were young Gambians, able Gambians from different levels and different generations, converged, came together to craft What today is this document? And I want to extend our appreciation on behalf of the country. And I hope that the media will help now to support, to start sending this document to the average Gambian so that we know what a defense policy entails.
Meanwhile, the Defense Minister grabbed the opportunity to welcome on board the National Security Council persons newly nominated by the National Assembly. The chairman of the drafting committee, Sheriff Emel Gomez, thanked the government for making the environment friendly for their tasks. The former army major pointed out that the committee has embraced a broad consultative approach in the drafting process by constructively engaging the various relevant stakeholders.
When we received feedback from we went back to the drawing boards, and that is what has now graduated the document from second draft to this current draft, which we thought it is good enough to go and do a final validation. The elements of the draft, the policy, of course, has an introduction, a foundation for the defense institutions, the strategic environments, there's the threats, the vulnerabilities, the challenges, and the responses that we thought should happen within the context of this draft, of the security threat, of the strategic environment. There is also a paragraph that talks about the strengths and opportunities that avails the defense institutions, the institutional frameworks, defense capabilities, defense in the pursuit of foreign policy aspiration and national interest, defense governance and oversight structure, human resource development of the defense institutions, support for resilient and prosperous Gambia.
The Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Defense, Ndeye Marinjai, enthused that the month-long national security policy drafting was interactive as she expressed excitement over the draft.
A very constructive engagement and cooperation and collaboration among the committee members. I used to enjoy staying with them the whole day because it's always very interactive. You witness the argument, the fun, the deliberation. It was not easy. And I can tell you also, all the members that we are selected to be part of the draft committee was not just for the sake of selecting them. It was carefully done by everybody, especially the minister and the entire management of this ministry. And we had no doubt that you can deliver to expectations. The caliber of people we had at the committee, their level of experience and engagement. It was a very diverse committee of fine men and women, civilian security personnel. So it was not a surprise. And we didn't doubt in giving it to you, because we know at the end of the day, we are not going to regret why all of you were selected to be part of that committee.
The draft national defense policy is meantime subject to a review by the defense minister before its finalization. Jacqueline Colley for Star TV News.
A 5-day FIFA member association training course for elite referees is underway at the National Technical Training Center in Yundum. Hadi M. Jaju attended the opening ceremony and she prepared this report.
The course, organized by the Gambia Football Federation, kick-started on Tuesday, and it brings together 29 referees from the National Division 1 League, including 4 women and 25 men. The president of the Gambia Football Federation, Lamin Kaba Bajo, in his statement during the opening ceremony, congratulated the participants for what he described as their deserved inclusion in the training. He thanked the FIFA for supporting the course.
We have seen consistent improvement and development in our league because they carry it. If refereeing is poor, you can bring down the standard. We hardly, as fans, despite the fact I'm president of the federation, chairman of the refereeing committee, but when I go to football match, sometimes I'm a fan. But thank God, I just watched a match not long ago. I was with the executives of a particular club who was playing against. And there was a particular, cry from the players about something. Unanimously, the 2 executives of that club said, no, nothing happened there. The referee has done the right thing. I was sitting down. And I said, look, this is what, because if we go up to the level of appreciating the job that we are doing, appreciating the tasks that you are carrying, I think really this is a good sign. Ordinarily, those two gentlemen will try to even jump and run into the field to protest against the referee. But now appreciating those, all of us appreciating really what we are doing, I think. And if you look at it, especially this current season, I have not received any major, in fact, I have not received any complaint when it comes to refereeing, when we say, quote unquote, poor refereeing as fans, because we always, it's us the fans. I think really it has been very minimal. So
the GFF president said refereeing in the country has improved and that he was delighted by this as he admitted the difficulties associated with the profession. He urged the participants to redouble their efforts.
It has always been a plus, and I have no doubt that will continue. And the only thing way to that, there's no shortcut to it. It's concentrating, focus, and just try to maintain maximum honesty and let you be guided by your conscience. That's the most important thing. So, as acting president of Refereeing Association, through you, we want to send our, on behalf of the Gambia Football Federation, our deepest appreciation and commendation to the refereeing family from the non-league competitions to the third division and then to the elite up to the fourth division.
The course instructor, Flix Tangawama, thanked the football leadership for organizing the 5-day training course despite the COVID-engendered difficulties. He added that the Gambia is among few countries that succeeded in conducting the training, as FIFA has not been organizing it for the past few years due to the coronavirus pandemic.
Mr. President, I come on behalf of the President of FIFA. I want to thank you very much for being able to organize this course in this very, very difficult period. You know, for almost over a year now, FIFA instructors have not been traveling. And you are the very, very few countries who have actually managed to organize a course. And I can say, as I was on my way here, FIFA also announced the postponement of this type of courses for a month or so, up to end of August, to see the situation if it's improving. So I really want to thank you very much that even if we're not going to get some courses, but you managed during this very difficult period to organize this very, very important course.
The technical director of the GFF, Sang Dong, emphasized that capacity enhancement is the bedrock of any meaningful football development, adding that no remarkable and sustainable development could be attained in the game without capacity nourishment.
It's my responsibility to make sure capacity is built. Without capacity, let's forget about football. And when we talk about capacity, technically, we talk about the coaches, the administrators, the referees, and also the medics.
GFF executive Sadibu Kamaso underscored the importance of the training, describing it as very vital. Speaking earlier, the chairman of the Gambia Referees Association, John F. Mendy, underlined the significance of the course in the context of the changing dynamics of the game. He thanked the course instructor and GFF for their continuous support to the growth of the country's sports sector. The training, meanwhile, wraps up on 17th July and will be followed by the second segment the next day. Reporting for Star TV News, I am Hadi M. Jaju.
The Farato-based Fortune FC is the champions of the GFF's First Division League, but Fortune's road to glory has been as the outcome of a combination of factors. Here is Jacqueline Colley again.
This is a story of humble origins and the overwhelming power of unity and the collective. It is the ultimate underdog story, albeit with some notable blemishes, the force of which acted as a catalyst for what was to unfold across the most astonishing GFF First Division season of all. In the GFF First Division League, nothing is incomprehensible. Yet, in 2021, what unfolded left everyone in utter disbelief. The Farato-based football team Fortune FC are now the new GFF 4th Division League champions after defeating Walidan FC 2-1 in their 23rd week fixtures played on Thursday at the Independence Stadium in Bakau. As a sports fan, you are always ready for surprises. In fact, it's those surprises that keep you glued to the action. They come few and far between, but the process of it unfolding is one of the most enjoyable aspects of sports. Fortune FC, under the leadership of Jane Juve as head coach, are now champions with 3 games to spare, leading the table standing with 46 points, 10 points ahead of Real de Banjul, while Walidan, who were at 2nd position before the game, dropped to 3rd position with 34 points. The man from Barra, Coach Jane of the Fortune FC, described winning the GFF League of the 1st Division as the greatest achievement in his coaching career. He said, "This is Fortune's 4th year in the 1st Division, and as the longest-serving coach in the 1st Division, this victory makes a difference." He further described himself as the happiest man on earth after winning the 1st Division League title.
Yeah, it means a lot to me because it's something that I have been looking for after spending so many years coaching in the 1st Division with some football club. I've only managed to win the Super Cup there and also to the FA Cup finals. So coming to Fortune and then win the league means something very big to me in my coaching career. So to be frank enough, if you happen to be a coach who is one of the longest serving coaches in the country and manage to win a silverware with a club where you spend about only 4 years in the top flight, I think it's a very big achievement for me.
The Fortune team played 21 matches without tasting defeat until Gamtel ruined their unbeaten record by defeating them 1-0 in an open game. Coach Jane said this was made possible due to their level of preparedness and the pre-season match tests they conducted.
Yeah, it all depends on preparation. As you know, in our 1st year, we played the league and then end up in the 3rd position. In the 2nd year, we again did well, finishing 5th. Last year was when the league was annulled. So this time around, we prepared to fail. That is starting early our pre-season training, putting into consideration that if we put all efforts on the table, we'll be able to achieve something at the end of the day. So we have a very good pre-season, with some very good test games as well, and also the selection of players. So we have the inclusion of some senior players, experience as well, together with the young ones who have been together with us for a very long time. So with the culture and tradition of the team, we decided to start our journey. So when the league starts, it wasn't easy. As you know, there are a lot of big clubs in Gambian football whom we have to give them the respect as they deserve. So we started in earnest and so also started winning, collecting maximum points in the 1st round. So when the gap was open, we realized that if we put further efforts, we at the end of the day can be champions. So but we cannot, if not we are winning games. So we realized that now we are the runaway leaders going towards the end of the 1st round. So when the 1st round ended and then come into the 2nd round, we decided to prepare ourselves more, knowing that if we keep on winning games or keep the momentum as we are going, at the end of the day we can be champions. Though it wasn't easy in the 2nd round, playing 13 games without losing, also up to the 21st game without losing, I think that was also another thing good for us.
Playing night games was one of the challenges the team conquered, as described by Coach Jane. He explained that his squad was not trained to play night matches, but they were able to conquer the challenge and many others, like the attitude and behavior of some players in the squad.
As you know, playing Gambian football is not easy. When you run a club, you need to motivate the players and make them happy, which was possible for us. And the other things that you might face as a coach, particularly me, is to be able to manage a squad of more than 30 or 30 players of different character and attitude, which at the end of the day you have to put together. Sometimes you see their positive side, sometimes you see their negative side, which also becomes a challenge to the coach as well, which you have to try and manage, solve before it escalates to another difficult situation. And also when we were playing in the 1st round, we were playing in the afternoon. All of a sudden the matches changed during the Ramadan to night matches, which wasn't bad as well, but also a challenging. As we know, we didn't practice playing night matches for the boys to be able to at least, acclimatize themselves with the situation, playing at night. Also, that was a challenge, but at the end we are used to it.
During their encounter with Walidan FC, Fortune took the lead in the 60th minute of the match through Patrick Silva, but Wally Dan level matters through Alaji Camara in the 93rd minute of added time to tie the match at 1 goal apiece on the stroke of regulation time. However, with the clock ticking down, the Farato-based team was awarded a free kick with almost the last kick of the game. Ibu Sanyang's calling shot flew into the bottom left corner of the net and sealed James Juve's side the title. This is Ibu Sanyang's reaction.
Yeah, that moment I feel overjoyed because it's the moment I'm waiting for, and it's come at the right time.
In an era when financial might of the Gambia's richest football clubs had left no room for fairy tales, Fortune FC scripted one, rising from the ashes as nobody did. Regardless of winning the league, Fortune still has 3 matches to play before receiving their trophy as champions. Meanwhile, Fortune FC will represent the Gambia in the 2021-2022 CAF Champions League after clutching the 2020-2021 Gambia Football Federation Division 1 League title. Jacqueline Colley reporting for Star TV News.
Those were the local stories. We'll be back with the international news after the short break.
Gambia, Angola, China Holding, GASH, producers of the finest tomato paste in the Gambia. Jeja tomato paste, available in 5 kilos, 1 kilo and in sachets. For wholesale and retail, visit our factory at Banjulonding. We are also producers of Jeja mineral water, cool, clear and fresh. GASH, Gambia, Angola, China Holding, with headquarters at Fatu Golden Plaza, Mile 7, Bertel Harding Highway. GASH Group also provides the best security company, GASH Security, for your offices, warehouses, homes and personal property. GASH Group for all your construction projects, offering you quality water reticulation for your gardens, pump irrigation, tidal irrigation projects and all types of buildings. You can contact GASH on 396-7894, 700-8993, 373-0259. Visit us at GASH Global Group on Battle Harden Highway, Fatu Golden Plaza. Our website www.gashglobal.com. Gambia, Angola, China Holding, GASH.
Sophie Milk ñu ngi fété juroom benn ati cafka bu dut dañ ñoo leen indil Jalika full cream milk powder neex saf sàpp te bari cafka pour di leen jërëjëfati si ni ngeen defee Sophie Milk seen favorite milk brand léegi mun ngeen a jëfandikoo empty Jalika milk sachets wala carton pour gagner ay xéewal yu riche. Pour gagner motorbike dajaleel fukk ak juróomi empty carton yi Jalika milk pour gagner yeneen xéewal yu mel ni PlayStation 4, TV, fridge freezer, gas cooker, bicycle wala mobile phone. dajaleel fukk ak juróomi empty Jalika milk sachets def leen si biir enveloppe binda si sa tur ak sa téléphone number. Mun ngeen ko yóbbu si bépp Jalika milk agent bu leen gën a jege. Pour xam bi si raful yi dem leen Jalika milk Facebook page. Jalika milk mooy meew bu ees bu leen so fi indil gën a neex saf sàpp te riche.
And now news from beyond our borders. Iran is facing a 5th wave of COVID-19 as the new Delta variant continues to spread. The country is already the worst affected in the Middle East, with 3.5 million people infected and more than 86,000 deaths. Al Jazeera's Dosa Jabari has more how Iran's vaccination program is slowly getting underway.
On a stretch of highway in West Tehran sits one of the world's largest shopping malls, and it's now home to the city's biggest COVID-19 vaccination center. This facility is one of hundreds in the capital, and it's open 7 days a week from 8 in the morning until late afternoon, depending on demand. 60 healthcare workers and volunteers run the center. They deal between 500 and 4,500 people every day. In Iran, anyone above the age of 65 is eligible to be vaccinated. 68-year-old Fatane Harsini is getting the Chinese Sinopharm vaccine.
I'm just so happy to be vaccinated. I was so stressed out all the time and worried. I didn't leave the house for a year. Now I feel a bit more comfortable and less stressed.
A sentiment shared by many here. Health officials are currently using the Chinese vaccine and a Russian one across the country. But recently, the domestic vaccine Barakat has been approved. Cobra Esfandiari says she doesn't care which vaccine she gets as long as she is immunized.
I'm glad to get the vaccine. I hope we can get rid of this disease soon. Health is the greatest gift not just for me but for all society.
Iran has a long way to go to achieve mass immunization. So far, just above 7 million from a population of 86 million have been vaccinated. Iran has purchased 16 million doses of foreign vaccines through the global COVAX scheme. But the government says U.S. sanctions are to blame for not getting more doses in sooner, and it's now hoping its own vaccine can help.
People can't choose the type of vaccine they get, but hopefully, once the domestic vaccine is mass-produced, we can speed up the vaccination process and get 60% of the population immunized.
Last month, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was one of the first to receive the Barakat vaccine. Since then, there's been a bigger demand for it.
Tehran's Grand Bazaar, which covers an amazing 10 kilometers of shops and stalls, is supposed to be shut down in accordance with the government's lockdown restrictions. But these shop owners say they can't afford to close. Getting vaccinated is the only real hope for all these businesses and all Iranians to survive the economic downturn as well as the pandemic. Dorsa Jabari, Al Jazeera, Tehran.
At least 33 people have died and dozens are missing, according to the regional officials, after heavy rains triggered flash floods in parts of Germany, damaging homes and disrupting transport. The deaths reported on Thursday were in the states of North Rhine-Westphalia and the Rhineland-Palatinate, where around the wine-growing hub of Afweiler, 18 people died due to the extreme weather conditions. Al Jazeera's Gillian Wolf reports.
This is the view from overhead. The picturesque German town of Schuld flooded after record rains. Much of the wine-producing region now destroyed after the Rhine River burst its banks, bringing down dozens of homes. Another 25 houses are at the risk of collapse.
There is mud everywhere in the houses. The bridge there collapsed, water overflowed. Further down, even houses have floated away. So it's an emergency, like World War II.
The flood has forced many to flee to their rooftops, waiting to be rescued. Others wading through waters, doing what they can to slow the floods. The government has declared a state of emergency and deployed the army. People in nearby towns have been told to leave the area. But rescue operations are being hampered. Villages are cut off by floodwater and landslides, making them difficult to reach. Phone and internet connections are also down.
What you see here now is worse than after a bombing raid, and this is guaranteed to take 10 years. The people are all broke, the businesses have been hurt, so it's just horrible now.
The once-in-a-generation floods are not limited to Germany. Neighboring Belgium and the Netherlands have also been hit hard. And with the slow-moving storm retaining its power, forecasters say there could be more damage and disruption to come. Gillian Wolf, Al Jazeera.
Well, as Gillian mentioned, the Netherlands has also been affected. Let's speak to Step Vassen now. She joins us from Valkenburg, near the border with Germany. And Step, the water line over your shoulder looks very high indeed. What's happening there?
Yes, exactly. People are really taken by surprise here also in this side of the border. The whole border region basically between the Netherlands, Germany and Belgium is now flooded. Rescue workers are going from door to door right behind me, knocking on the doors because they're trying to save people who have been stuck there since yesterday, because that was when the water suddenly got really high after 3 days of continuous downpours. It's unprecedented flooding here in this part of the Netherlands. They never seen a thing like this before. Rivers are overflooded. I'm here in Valkenburg, which is a tourist center. Lots of tourists were here, but hundreds of people have now been evacuated to safer places. Also, elderly homes have been evacuated. A bridge has collapsed, and the damage, of course, is immense. And the authorities here are really asking for help. The military has actually moved in as well to try to evacuate as many people as possible. Nobody knows until when this flooding is happening. The currents, maybe you can see it, are very strong. It's really the river has taken over this part of the city.
Okay, Step Vassen live for us in Valkenburg. Thank you very much indeed.
8 days to go to Tokyo 2020, and Olympic chief Thomas Bach says there is zero chance of participants infecting Japanese residents with coronavirus. Those comments came on the same day that one athlete and several staff members at the Games tested positive in Tokyo. Al Jazeera's David Stokes reports.
The Olympic torch relay continues in Tokyo, but it's largely ceremonial, with the torchbearers only allowed to walk with the flame for a few metres. The state of emergency in the host city has seen the relay taken away from public roads, with no spectators. Restrictions are also impacting local business close to the venues. This fencing club across from the main stadium has been told to leave its premises until mid-September because it's being used by Tokyo 2020. Bad news for a small business already struggling with the impact of the pandemic.
With the sports industry already lacking energy, to now be told there will be no practice area is an additional blow. From a business perspective, it's going to be a big negative, in all honesty.
8 days to go until the Games, and coronavirus continues to cause disruption. On Thursday, the first athlete to test positive under the organiser's watch was confirmed in Tokyo, along with a member of Games personnel and 4 Tokyo 2020 contractors. 8 women rugby players from Kenya are also isolating after a positive case on their flight, and US basketball star Bradley Beal could miss the Games. He's isolating at their camp in the States, with his teammates set to fly out on Monday. The American women's football team is already in Japan, getting ready for an Olympics like no other, with no fans at all in the stadium.
It'll be really different, but we have to be able to imitate fans around us and kind of that sort of energy. We have to feed off each other because we're not going to get that from any outside audience or anything like that.
No fans, and the medal ceremonies will look different too. Athletes who win gold, silver and bronze will have to collect and present themselves with the medals to reduce the risk of spreading the virus. Despite all the complications, countries continue to send their teams to compete, including China, who have assembled their biggest ever delegation for an Olympics. All 431 of their athletes were unveiled at a special ceremony in Beijing, with the Games set to begin a week on Friday. David Stokes, Al Jazeera.
And before we end the news, a quick recap of our main headlines. Gambia signs cooperation agreement framework with Sierra Leone. Barrow lays foundation stone for SANKANDI-KARANTABA road. Koro Caesar's family says justice delayed is not justice denied. Red Cross raises 13 million for WINDSTORM victims. Draft national defense policy submitted to defense minister. FIFA referees training course underway. Fortune's FC greatest underdog story of all. On the international scene, Iran faces 5th COVID wave amid growing Delta variant threat. At least 33 killed as heavy rains batter Western Germany. Athlete Olympic workers test positive for COVID as opening nears. That's all for this edition of the news. Do join us tomorrow for more news. Please stay tuned and enjoy the rest of our programs. Until then, have a very good night.